I won't talk this time.
Hey guys, welcome to the Launchpad Podcast. Before we get the show going, you know what we are going to ask you to do. It's hit like and subscribe. It's tell your friends about this hilarious podcast with two handsome gentlemen who say funny things. Follow us on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, and whatever else is fueling the revolution. Watch us on YouTube. We're handsome. I have a cool shirt on today. Most of the times I'm not wearing a shirt at all, and you can just see my nips out. But today, got a shirt on, and it's cool. What shirt do you have, Matt?
Oh, I got my 80s child mishmash T-shirt. It says Transformers up top, but it's in the Ninja Turtles logo, and it
Yeah.
has Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe riding a tauntaun while holding He-Man's shield and Lion-O's sword. So it's child of the 80s.
There's only one thing that would make that shirt better, and it's if he had a proton pack on his back.
You're right, and I thought you were going to say your nipples, but yeah, you're right. Proton Pack is definitely better.
I mean, why don't more men's T-shirts just have a little hole snipped out on either side? You know, I mean,
No, I want a graphic of your nipples in particular, not just anyone's nipples or my nipples. I want yours.
on Snake Eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Why do you think he doesn't talk?
Honk honk. That's all he says. I'm getting over a cold, so if at least once in this podcast I break out in a coughing fit, sorry. Anyway, we're going to continue today with our RooMANIACS. What did we call? You had a great term for it.
RooMAYHEM.
RooMAYHEM. We're going to continue.
RooMANIACS is pretty good though too.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be RooMAYHEM 2 RooMANIACS.
RooMANIACS. Yes, and for those of you who checked out, the 7 of you who checked out our sequels, Electric Boogaloo 2, the new batch, that was a funny ass episode. We're going to continue mishmashing pop culture characters together as roommates and positing what may happen. We cracked the fuck up last time, so let's see if lightning strikes twice this week on the Launchpad Podcast.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right. Welcome to the Launchpad Podcast. I'm Aaron.
I'm Matt.
Matt, continuing the RooMAYHEM. Let's dive right in, man.
Real quick, in case you didn't listen to last week's episode. Yes.
Oh, do you want to do plugs first? Is that what you're getting at, or are you setting up something? Did I cut off?
No, I was reminding, like, at the beginning of a comic issue, in case for some reason someone didn't read last issue.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, wait, what are they talking about? These people living in the same room. I don't. What? I don't know what's going on.
This is a better idea. But I was also.
But also plugs. We're going to be at Comic-Con, and we're going to be San Diego Comic-Con in a month, and we're going to be doing 2 panels. Count them, 2. We're doing our normal Ghostface horror trivia with Ghostface, Roger Jackson asking the questions. We already got some bitchin' prizes. I went to a Comic-Con last week and already started asking for some pretty cool stuff to be represented there. I think it's going to be neat. Yes. And we have blades and blasters.
Blasters and broadswords. The brackets. Blasters and broadsword bracket. It's we're going to be picking the best weapons in pop culture, and you guys are going to help us define what the greatest weapon of all time is, and it's going to be hilarious.
Greatest pop culture weapons, so like comic books, cartoons,
Yeah.
Oh man, I've already started thinking. I have some really good picks that I'd like actually throw down. Would be like that's the best weapon in pop culture, and then I have some funny picks that I think are just like, how could you beat that, right? Like, but
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun. I hope it's like a lively discussion, and like usual, we were talking about this last week. Both panels have a lot of audience participation, so come. First of all, please, when you see us at Comic Con, we love when you guys come and say hi. Um, we love when you come tell us your favorite episode. We love when you come give us ideas for episodes. Please keep doing that because we absolutely love that. And it's cool to kind of talk to you guys because Rumi and I talk to each other all episode. I mean, that is great, but it's also good to know, like, oh, you actually are out there and you guys do like this and you did think that joke we said that one time was funny. So please come let us know that.
And last time, people who came up to us got free stuff. So I don't know, if we're going to continue. No promises.
I like that you just jumped into that. I was not going to tease that just in case we didn't do that, but you know,
I just really like that we did do that. So I don't know. Maybe we can find a way to make that happen. But no,
it was fun.
No
we were
promises.
like, hey, we have shirts for horror trivia, and people are like, I don't know a lot. And we're like, all right, we'll keep throwing them at you till you get it correct.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that was funny. So we'll see. Who knows what we'll have? It's usually when we have leftovers that we don't want to go home with that we're like, hey, if you see us, we'll give away more free shit.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be there the whole weekend, but both of our panels will be Friday the 25th. Blades and Blasters is going to be as of right now it's scheduled to be at 5:00, and Ghostface Horror Trivia should be 9:00. So put the kiddies in bed and then come on over, check out this strange noise, investigate the strange noise by yourself. If you like scary movies, it'll be a lot of fun. It always is. It's always a friggin' riot. It's a great way to close out that night. So come hang out with the Launchpad. We'll give you more details as we get closer, and certainly check our social media and stuff.
Ooh, and a poster. Yeah.
So last episode, we were talking. We had seen this thing that said 2 random characters in a room. What would happen? So Rumi and I kind of like threw that together as our episode for the night. And we got 300 more mileage out of it. Yeah. It was way more. Amanda just was like, what are you guys doing? And she's like, didn't you do that last week? I was like, yeah. She's like, did anyone like a lot of people liked it? I was like, well, we haven't technically released it yet, but me and Aaron laughed so hard at each other that we had to do a sequel.
We have no idea if this is a successful episode, and we're just banking on how hard we laughed last time that it's going to be good for another full hour. Putting 2 characters in a roommate scenario and seeing what happens. And one of my favorites last time that you put out there was Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty and Bert the Puppet from Sesame Street. That immediately set the tone off right. Amazing.
I got some good ones from this. I have some leftover good ones from last time, and I came up with some other good ones today. So let's get into it. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, go back and listen to that one. But it's got some pretty good ones, and we had,
or maybe not, because it'll be a baseline for how bad this one is. Like, what if?
Yeah, I was gonna say we have material left over.
If you didn't listen to that one, listen to this one first, and that one might be like a step up. Who knows?
You're a terrible salesman. Who's gonna listen to another part if they don't like this part?
I am a terrible salesman. It's true.
That was mediocre, but I'll give them one more chance.
I mean, we have 300 episodes. Enough people have come back after the mediocrity.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. There's a couple people who have nothing else to do on their long-ass drive home or to from work, so they're like, okay, fine.
Those guys are funny enough.
It's more like they're like my iPad is broken enough and it's on shuffle and I can't do anything else, so I'll just leave this on.
Since we did it 2 episodes ago, we did our Joker episode. So I wanted to start putting the Joker as a roommate with Deadpool. Because at certain points in their careers, both of them have been so annoying. I think they'd be really interesting together.
When you said that, I was like, I think the Joker would kill Deadpool, or at least like immediately, just out of like the Joker's like, I am chaos and anarchy, but you are just fucking annoying.
Annoying. Right, right. But Wade Wilson also might just find him hysterical. Like, not see the homicidal part of it and just focus on the clown part of it. Like, look at this guy. He's hysterical. I love this clown. Oh, I love a good birthday clown. Nobody even told me it was my birthday. Like, I think he would have I think he would just torture the Joker so much with his antics and goofiness and the fact that the Joker can't really kill him. Would just be
Right. And
hysterical.
I think that, like, you think of all of, comic book and, let's say, Marvel's funny guys. Like, Spider-Man's one of the funniest, jokiest kind of guys, but he's not impish, he's not mischievous, and he's not
Yep.
like naughty. Whereas, like, I think Deadpool is purposely trying to get under your skin. He's purposely trying to be annoying to whoever he is with, even
Yep.
Wolverine or whoever. He's trying to get them ticked off, right? So I feel like when you have that, I also, Deadpool strikes me as the kind of guy who, once he realizes he's succeeding, he's going to pull out all the stops and lean into that hard. And I think the Joker would lose it right away. And I think once Deadpool realized that, he would lean into that heavily. And just imagine the end of the first issue, right? Is the Joker has like completely, utterly, physically destroyed him, and his body is all over the room. But then Wade opens up his eyes and says one more smart ass thing. And then the next issue is the Joker's like, wait, you're immortal? He's like, no, I'm just pretty much indestructible.
I mean, I could just see them working on their Type 5 together. Like, him really I don't see this as being like, you definitely have to pick the right Joker for this. This is more like the Sid Caesar Joker than, I think, even like the Heath Ledger Joker, who would not be able to handle him. But I do
By
love
Sid
the idea.
Caesar, do you mean Caesar Romero?
Sure. Yeah, that guy. One of the Caesars. Et tu, Brute. I mean,
I'm looking up
Caesar's,
Sid Caesar to see if I made a mistake. He's just some old actor.
Caesar salad then. Wherefore out there, Romeo? Why are you bringing so many Shakespeare references into this? Sure, the guy who played the Joker in the Adam West.
Yeah. Caesar Romero.
Caesar Romero.
I was
George
like,
Romero.
I thought they're like maybe it was a writer or somebody who wrote Joker, and I was like, oh, am I not familiar with that era of Joker?
I don't know. I just find them both to be at their worst super annoying, can be super annoying characters, and I think it'd be really interesting to see them in a room together. But I do think that Wade Wilson would just actually find the Joker to be a funny clown.
I like it.
Classic.
I could see that. I could see that working, and I think the gimmick would get old pretty quickly, but I think you could do 2 issues, or you could do a half-hour cartoon show out of it, or something.
100%.
It would work.
But Deadpool, he really has a limit. Like, there really is only so much that you can handle. Like, 2 hours of a movie is just enough.
Oh yeah. I can't. I was thinking that the other day. Actually, I was thinking about going back and rewatching Deadpool Wolverine, which
is
I liked,
great. I
was
it.
like, I don't. I think I could go back and rewatch it, but that's probably one. I probably have. I'm 43 years old. Let's say I live to be 90. I probably have 10 more rewatches tops of that movie. Like you said, I don't think you can. It's not Die Hard. It's not Predator. It's not.
Yeah. I've seen the first one quite a few times. I've only seen the second one once.
The second one was I have to rewatch the third one, but the second one I liked a lot more than the first one. I liked it a lot.
The third one gave me this moment of just like sheer joy, and it was in the first like 30 minutes where you're just like, oh my gosh, he's digging up the corpse of
yeah, that was
Wolverine.
in the intro.
Yeah, and then killing them with his corpse, but then also flashing to all those different Wolverines, and it's like, I know that comic, I know that cover.
Yeah.
Like there's just a moment where you're like, man, he knows what I like. Good job. But then there's a whole bunch in that movie that I can't even remember because it comes at you so fast, where it's like, blah, 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 joke, and you're like, oh my God. Super fun, though.
I thought the same thing when I watched it. But again, it's good, and it's like it's what you want it to be. It doesn't leave anything in the tank. There's not like, oh, they didn't do that. You're like, no, they pretty much did everything that they possibly could have done. Almost too fast, too much, where you got to watch it again just to get some of the nuances and some of the smaller things, right?
Bingo. All right. Who do you got? Who are you leasing this
Let's see.
apartment out to, Roomie?
Okay, so I told you right before the show that my family and I just went to go see the original 1990 live action Ninja Turtles movie.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
putting Splinter, specifically that Splinter, but Splinter and Yoda. And I would love to have Frank Oz Yoda and Kevin Clash Splinter. Just waxing philosophic to each other. I think it would be a very zen household. At first, I started to think that they might actually like start to get ticked off at each other because it's like, stop friggin' preaching at me. And then you realize, oh, wait, I'm preaching at everybody too. But I think that they would just get along, and I think they would both learn a lot from each other. I think it would be very chill.
Cooler than Yoda, though. Because there's moments in Ninja Turtles where Splinter's like, I'll have pizza. I'll play a video game. Yoda would be like...
Stop right there. You don't think Yoda would have pizza?
Yoda's never had pizza, man.
Delicious this is. Because he lives on fucking Dagobah.
Yeah, exactly. He's
introducing
if he lived
in Italy, I think he'd be all about pizza, don't you think?
He's introducing... I think Splinter's going to introduce Yoda to some cool shit, man. Like, I think he's going to be the one to be like, be like, must make my stew tonight. Yeah, I will. And he's like, my son, I am so tired. I am so tired of beet stew. We will just order a pizza and find sustenance that way. Pizza? What is pizza? This is. And then he would order up some, marshmallow pepper.
an unrolled calzone, basically. This is.
And then
Stop
they
to
would
say this crust is.
And then cut to like 3 months later, and it's like 30 minutes late, and I pay for it not.
Yeah. Wise says a wise man.
Yes.
Divine is forgiveness, but pay full price for cold pizza, never.
Yeah. I think they would. Yeah, there'd be so many platitudes floating around that place. It'd be ridiculous.
Okay, but here, you started this pizza conversation, so I think this is important, especially Kenton is in a big Ninja Turtle kick right now, to use a pun, and he is hitting a lot of different types of Ninja Turtles, including the original 80s cartoon, which we watched the first couple episodes of. So I don't know if you remember, but in that one, they're having like jelly bean and peanut butter, or like sausage and... So is Splinter eating regular pizza, or is he eating weird shit pizza like that? No,
because that's all he knows too. His boys taught him how to eat jelly bean, marshmallow fluff, anchovy pizza. And that's what he thinks is... He's a rat, for goodness sakes. He loves garbage. And that's what Yoda's down for too. But they also drink a lot of tea. So like, I feel like they're like zenning out to that stuff. It'd be such a chill pad. And then their neighbor would come over with cookies, and she's like, I'm the Oracle, babies. I brought you some cookies. And they're like, yeah, cookies. and their neighbor can be the Oracle. It'll be great.
So where is this apartment? Is it on Dagobah, or is it
Upper West Side,
sewer?
Dude?
You think so?
Yeah, it's under the Upper West Side.
And they're both cool with it, you think?
I think eventually. I mean, they definitely have some like classic Odd Couple vibes. Mm-hmm. I think they'd definitely have weeks where they'd be cranky and stuff, for sure. Yoda would be like,
talk about it. They would
use my toothbrush. You did,
my cereal bowl. This is not
your hair all over sink. It is. He's a rat, after all.
Can I hit you with my Nash Splinter? Because I think I have a pretty good one.
Okay.
My Kevin Nash. Ready? That's his name, right? Kevin Clash.
I don't know.
Kevin Clash. Who does Elmo and Yoda. So in the first, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he's explaining to April like the origin story of the Ninja Turtles, and he goes, "For 15 years now, we have lived here in the sewers." And he says, I discovered 4 turtles crawling around in a green glowing ooze. And then the next day he says, they were increasing in size, and I was growing too, particularly in intellect. But nothing could prepare me for what happened next. One of them spoke, and then Kent goes, "Pizza! Pizza!" More words followed. Radical, radical, radical.
I love that.
I do too. I
Kevin
say it all the
Clash.
time.
Oh, he was okay. So yeah, he was. I didn't know he was Splinter in the original. I didn't know Elmo was Splinter in the original movie. Did he get in trouble? Did he have
I think it was one of those like Kevin Spacey. It's like a Kevin thing. Like there was rumors and trouble happening, but then it didn't get full blown trouble.
But he definitely lost his job because of it.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Well, we'll be unsure because I'm not going to look that up while we're doing funny bits. I love that. Can I do my Yoda one next? I have a Yoda roommate.
Oh yeah. Good.
So
good. Wait, we got to point out that transition. That's a great transition.
Great transition, right? Okay, so what if Yoda, after his job gets transferred and he moves to a different country, he moves to Middle Earth and gets a room with Gandalf, the wizard.
Okay, I like it.
You want to talk in riddles and shit, but these dudes have seen war. So they got some like war stories. Also, Gandalf's teaching Yoda how to roll that up, smoke that up, is what I'm saying. Like, he's got that Shire weed, and Yoda is like, I think Yoda becomes a little bit of dependent on that.
You think so? I don't think Yoda would.
In his old age?
Is
no,
because my body is not to eat pizza or smoke weed.
Because
he'd only stew.
He'd be like, after listening to my Padawans and my Jedi trainees ask so many fucking questions, he's like, I'm going to die if I ask one more question. And Gandalf's like, yo, bro, just take a hit of this.
Chill out.
He's like, it's Friday. You ain't got no Padawans. You ain't got shit to do. I'm going to get you high, Yoda. That's from the movie Friday by Ice Cube. Friday.
I've heard.
Classic film.
3'2" I am. High I could use.
Yeah, he could. But I think their war stories would be fantastic because Yoda would be talking about like Clone Wars and like lightsaber battles. And Gandalf's like, dude, I fought a Balrog. None shall pass. I died and came back like 3 times. Showed up on a giant eagle. I got some trees to fight with me. I think Yoda would be
on a giant eagle.
I think Yoda would be super stoked to like listen to some war tales and tell him about like wars do not make one great. Yeah. I hear you. But like, dude, so we were on the battlefields of Morotai against all these freaking goblins and orcs. And I tell you what, I thought we were done for. And then all these like ghost kings and elephants showed up, and like fucking Orlando Bloom was like, pop, pop, pop. Yeah, you had to be there. Yoda's like, I whipped out my lightsaber and started doing all these barrel rolls all over the place. And he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, everybody was totally surprised, but I did.
Prepared, the audience was not.
No, we all cheered and then left the theater and went,
yeah,
stupid.
Move like that makes no sense.
Yeah, me having a lightsaber makes no sense.
Yeah, the fanboys loved it initially. Until
well, how would you say? I'm trying to turn it into Yoda.
Until later, logic returned.
That would also be a really good visual of
Yeah.
Gandalf, who's pretty tall and lean with a
Yep.
long ass hat, and he
Yeah.
also doesn't he have a staff?
Yeah, big
And
staff.
then you have all those things just are vertical lines, vertical lines, vertical lines, and then you have little round Yoda head with the
Yep.
ears pointing sideways, and he's like a quarter of his height. That would be pretty funny. I'm on board for that.
And he's used to small little creatures, befriending them.
That's true.
Oh, and then he takes Yoda on this tricks him into going on this ridiculous adventure.
For the shit, I'm getting too old.
Yeah. That would be amazing. Just a buddy cop movie with Gandalf and Yoda, but like in Middle Earth doing Yoda shit. Gandalf, your scuzzy friend Gollum is here. Tell him not to touch my stuff.
Imagine like Yoda crashes his ship in Middle Earth, and Gollum comes over and starts pulling out all of his fucking food, and he's eating his fish sticks and everything.
Annoying this is. Never again shall I touch someone's rations.
How does one get so big eating such food as this? Mine, or I'll help you not.
Yeah.
Oh God.
My astromech you must not hit.
Whack, 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 whack.
Basic manners, I thought these were.
So yeah, I think that would be that would really be like like blacklight posters, like beaded curtains. It'd be, I don't know why I made Gandalf a total stoner, like just hippie, but
I mean, you didn't. I mean, it's not a giant stretch. It's not like you did a lot of work to get to that place.
no,
We've all
yeah,
heard that and thought that before.
Oh, all right, what you got now?
Okay, how about? Yeah, again, great transition. How about Raoul Duke from Fear and Loathing, and Renton from Train Spotting?
Oh no, they're dead within a week, dude.
But
Raoul-
what a week!
Dude, yeah,
Think
Raoul,
of all the colors they would see.
oh my God, they'd both be like, oh my God. So the guy from Train Spotting, Obi-Wan Kenobi from Train Spotting, crawling out of a toilet, and he looks over to the tub, and Raoul Duke's crawling out of the tub at the same time, like, like every time they see each other, they have to like do this mirror dance where they're like, "Oh, are you real? Are you what?" But they would just egg each other on, and both would OD and sink into the floor. That'd be it. Then they
And then Yoda and Gandalf come in.
Their pockets you must check.
oh, Gollum sells them some bad smack. I own a piece from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, a Ralph Steadman print of the bad craziness, and it's one of my favorite things that my wife got me for Christmas one year. I love it.
It's beautiful. It really is
yeah.
beautiful.
I have another Ralph Steadman too, but like Ralph Steadman and Hunter S. Thompson, like one of my favorite authors of all time, just because of his craziness and just the absolute out there of it all. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is one of my favorite books, and it was really a bummer. The week I finished that book, he died. Well, you know, we all know how he went out, but yeah.
Do you think they were related?
You know,
You finishing the book and him dying?
I don't know. That'd suck if the correlation was stronger, but you know, normally that's not how things work. But when you're reading that book,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, whoa. He's like, this kid doesn't even do that many drugs. Why is he like, he's like, I can't have any more like white yuppies reading this book and thinking I'm cool. I gotta cut this shit out before my legacy. Yeah, the culture was never the thing that was appealing to me. It was just the just the
The
radical
storytelling, right?
the radical
Yeah.
approach to just like I'm going to come at this thing that I don't want to do with just an absolute abandon and zest for destruction. And there's been times where I've always wanted to be like, I want to go on the Bud Light cruise. And people are like, what? And I'm like, just so I can fear and loathing that shit. And they're like, do a bunch of drugs. I'm like, no, just be there and witness
Mm-hmm.
the chaos and the loathing that comes from it. That's the part that is appealing to me, because there's so many times in our lives where we've been in a situation that's absolutely miserable, and you're like, I can be miserable, or I can surf this wave and laugh at how terrible this situation
Yeah.
is. And that's the best you can do, and have a smile on it. And I think some people look at the Gonzo movement and the whole Hunter S. Thompson thing and like, you got to be on acid when you're doing it, bro. It's like, I don't know if that's your ethos, fine, but I'm 40 and have a kid. I'm not going to be doing any acid with you. Sorry.
I love that so much in college. And you know me, I'm, for all intents and purposes, straight edge and always have been. I'm 43. I've never been drunk, never been high. I've drink alcohol once in a while, but literally never to be drunk. And I love that movie so goddamn much.
So good.
And one of my best friends from high school, who's still one of my best friends, Kevin, he thought that was so funny that someone who has never looked at a drug loves that movie so much. But I agree with you. Drugs are I mean, they're an important part of that movie, but it didn't have to be drugs. It could be anything else fueling him. His passion could be for something else, even if it wasn't a mind-altering substance. But it's just the way both the character of Raoul Duke and then also Hunter S. Thompson, it's the way they talk, it's the way they tell that story. It's like you said, the way they ride that wave. The movie is fucking fantastic, but like you said, the book is probably my favorite comedy, my favorite humorous book. It is so funny to read his words as he describes whatever he's describing. And it does not matter that it almost doesn't matter that he's high, and it almost doesn't matter that he's going to different conventions about drugs and stuff like that. It's the way he describes a car, the way he describes that windows leapt up like frogs in a dynamite pool. It's just like, I will listen to you talk. If that's how you speak, I will listen to you talk about anything.
Dear God, man, this is bad country. Yeah. Have you seen the other iterations of him? Have you ever seen the Bill Murray movie where Bill Murray plays him?
No, I know what it is, but I haven't seen it. And I just recently bought a graphic novel that was supposed to be based on the original book, but I haven't read it yet.
The Bill Murray one, this film brought to you by cocaine. It is nonsensical to an extent. It is bizarre, which on one hand is exactly what you want from that, but like there's a nuance to the Terry Gilliam movie that I find appealing. The Bill Murray one, as much as I like Bill Murray and what they're doing, is it's like they couldn't quite make a movie because they were too distracted by perhaps a substance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it reeks of those like at their height Richard Pryor films where you're like,
yeah.
The first half of the movie's hilarious and coherent in a comedy, but then all of a sudden it just delves into like funny walks and it's just relying on that gimmick, and you're like,
yeah.
Well, I guess that was funny at one point in the 70s.
Well, I feel like Hunter S. Thompson is also such a small mark to hit correctly. You know what I mean? It's almost like if you think about the tumblers of a lock, to get that lock to open correctly, you have to have every tumbler inside that lock in its exact appropriate spot. Even if you have it mostly sprung, the lock's not going to open. And maybe that was the Bill Murray one, whereas the Terry Gilliam one was definitely where all those tumblers were where they should have been, which allowed the whole mechanism to function, you know?
But oddly enough, the Bill Murray is the one that is given the seal of approval by Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S.
Oh,
Thompson,
interesting.
he never really liked the Terry Gilliam movie. I think he kind of bounced around, but I've seen interviews where he's like, I didn't care. I don't care. They
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do whatever
yeah.
they want. He's like, this kid was like living in my basement, made me shave his head. And they're like, Johnny Depp?
Johnny.
He's like, whatever. And like, there's all these interviews of him like being like footage of him arguing with Terry Gilliam about Gilliam. How are we saying his name?
I think I say Terry Gilliam, but I might not be right.
Him fighting with Terry Gilliam about like why is there a cartoon in the middle of this? And like, because you're high. He's like, yeah, but nothing turns into a cartoon. And they're like, have you ever seen a Monty Python? I do that's a thing that, and he's like, yeah, there's no cartoons. And they're like, okay, I guess no cartoons. Like he's just very antagonistic. But I think that would have been him to an extent, whereas like, him and Bill Murray were like friends. Like Bill Murray would go hang out with him, and I think that that's an interesting sort of cog in that lock. As
So put them in a room, Bill Murray and Hunter S. Thompson, and let's throw Johnny Depp in there as well.
Oh no!
I think because of the way that each of those actors is Johnny Depp would be trying so hard to fit in with them.
Bingo.
Right?
And they get him
but they would know.
They get him sleeping on the patio in his underwear, and they're like laughing at him.
Yeah. And he's just trying to fit in. He thinks he's landing it. He thinks he's being accepted, but really the other two are talking shit and thinking shit.
Yeah. They have convinced him that he can fly and just barely keep him from jumping into the pool from the third story. You know, like, yeah, Johnny Depp is gonna be embarrassed, and they're gonna be laughing at him all the way to the bank.
I'd watch the movie. I'd read the book.
Oh my God. And you've heard about like driving with Hunter S. Thompson is insane. Like he's just he's not paying attention. He's just going so fast. Johnny Depp's like in the back seat and him and Bill Murray in the front. And it's like that moment in Train, Planes, and Automobiles where they both turn into the devil and look at him and they're like,
no, it's that moment at the beginning of Fear and Loathing when Tobey Maguire's in the back seat. Tobey Maguire. This is in tonight's show, Johnny Depp is playing the part of Tobey Maguire. Right? And Bill Murray and Hunter S. Thompson are Raul Duke and Gonzo.
Gonzo. Oh God. That's amazing. My attorney.
I could watch that movie once a week, I think.
Really?
I truly love it. Like it, and it's funny every time. It's one of those movies that I think about this a lot lately. Do you remember when you would find, like, for me, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, and you were like, I have to share this with people. And you'd get your friends who liked movies and shit, but maybe they weren't like movie buffs like you. They weren't as into it as you. And you're like, you gotta watch this. Yeah. And you'd show them something and you'd be like, that was all one shot. And they'd be like, cool. And you'd be like, no, but like, that was all one shot. Or you'd be like, you know, that this movie was made for this much money in one location with this many actors and they wouldn't fully grasp it. I feel like this is one of my grown-up versions of this. Like, I watched this recently with a friend, and I wanted to be like, the whole time, I wanted to just watch them and be like, it's cool, right? This is funny, right? You know, the whole time. Because, like, it mattered to me that they liked it, you know, as a thing, not just, oh, that's a cool movie. I wanted them to like it, you know?
It is an adult dose of movie, though, because it's at its weirdest. It's also a weird book to read, and it also can turn people. It's why I think it is very interesting that you like it this much, because as somebody who is not like, it's easy for people who do acid and peyote and like drugs to be like, yeah, thumbs up to this. It's interesting that somebody, but again, like I said, I can absolutely identify with that because I am in a similar boat where it's like the appeal to it is not necessarily the chemicals, but the zest for which they tackle the weirdest and craziest situations, because we've all been there and you're like, you just got to write it out, man. It will wear off. This bad moment will wear off. And even though it keeps feeling like you're out of control, at some point you're gonna wake up in your bed and be like, "Oh, that sucked." We
Yeah,
were
and you might be
somewhere,
waking up in your bed next to Splinter or next to Renton from Train Spotting.
right? There you go. We were somewhere outside of Barstow on the edge of the desert when the drugs began to take hold. I love that. So good. Anyway, um, here's a good one with a terrible transition. Lieutenant Ripley from Alien and Sarah Connor in the most
Ooh.
prepper-esque ever shack outside of Mexico that you could possibly think of.
Oh, and then what about Laurie Strode also gets in there at some point?
Oh shit.
Right?
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah.
Well, keep with your two original ones.
Ripley
like
and
that.
Sarah Connor, you have one active mother. Little John Connor's running around learning how to ride bicycles in between Molotov cocktail lessons. And like, I just think as survivors of horrible things, but also bad mothers, you'd
Mhm.
have like just this like bitchin' compound of like, but like very strict with a lot of weird friends that come over.
Very, yeah, a lot of uncles that come over to
Yeah.
hang out.
And sell them weapons.
So, okay, so here's my first question for this, and if you
Yeah.
don't know the answer, that's okay. We can figure it out together. And I
Okay.
feel like this is one of the first things that most of these couples that we're doing, it's one of the first things we explore. How do they feel about each other, do you think?
Oh, mad respect.
Mm.
I think they would just be an immediately regimented, like they know exactly who is doing what, how the duties are split up. I think they very rarely would have any issues because it'd be like a military operation.
I
You
agree
know,
with that, but I
like
think
like Ellen Ripley handles front of the house business. When
yes,
somebody comes to call, she's the one answering the door. She doesn't
she's
let
the more
Sarah Connor.
social one. She's
Yes.
yeah.
She can handle that stuff. You know, when something when the truck breaks down, that's when Sarah Connor's taking care of that. They're basically like a non-romantic lesbian couple.
Well, this is one of those things that like nerddom and fandom is great for because like we're doing this fun, silly topic, right? Presumably for the sense of humor, for the sake of
Jokes.
humor, rather.
Yeah.
And you have two interesting characters that could or could not work together. And like if you really dig into it, you have Ellen Ripley was not a hero. She was not a badass. She was a regular girl who was put into a disaster and did what she had to do to survive. And she was good at it. You know what I mean? And then that led to more adventures throughout the rest of the franchise with her, right? You have Sarah Connor, who very similar was just some chick until shit went down, and then essentially like pretty much between 1 and 2 a switch was flipped, and from then on she is essentially like a Terminator, right? She's almost like a soldier. She is in it. I think that Ripley might not judge Sarah Connor, but Ripley would be aware that Sarah Connor only has one mode, and that is prep for the future, train. There is nothing else. You know what I mean? Sarah Connor, it's even mentioned in a throwaway line in 2. She's going on dates with guys that can help her, that can teach her how to hotwire a truck, that could teach her how to fight, that could teach her weapons. She is no longer Sarah Connor. She is the mother of the resistance, right? She's not the human figure Sarah Connor. She's not living for herself. She's living for John and at large the rest of the humanity. And I don't
Here's
think
another-
Ripley has that
Like
sense, right?
like every now and then Ripley gets her to like let down her guard, and then they're trading scars. She's like, "This is when the T-1000 shot me in the chest. This is when he stabbed me with a liquid metal finger." And she's like, "This is when the xenomorph spilled acid blood on me, and this is the scar." You know, they trade scar stories, but like, I think they both have these moments in their friendship where they're like, "I don't know if she fought a robot. I don't know if she fought a." You know, like she's like, I know she's got this mission, but I don't know. I don't know if the future's full of robots.
I love that. She's like, I fought a robot. She's like, I had a friend that I didn't like at first. He was a robot, and an alien with 6 arms ripped him in half. She's like, oh yeah? Well, did I mention my robot was from the future? And she's like, I once beat a robot only with a fire extinguisher.
I guess they both have a hatred for robots, which kind of works
that's
out.
true. That was in the listing. Who posted the listing? Sarah Connor or Ripley? Ripley, right?
Must hate robots. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm in, you know, whatever, I'm in.
I also like the obligatory, like, Ellen gets it, because Ellen Ripley, wouldn't you think Ellen Ripley would date? Like, Ellen Ripley would go out and have a good time. Sarah Connor, after Terminator 1, is not doing that.
No,
but I like the idea that Ellen is like, hey, I got us dates tonight. Come on, we're doing this. Get dressed. And Sarah Connor comes out in her fatigues with her gray wife beater and her army hat, and Ellen's like, nope, get back in there. I'm coming with you. Nope. We're changing.
We're gonna glam you up, girl. And then it's like a great montage where she makes her pretty. They do the she's all that.
And then you have this wonderful date sequence where Ellen is doing okay, but every once in a while sticks her foot in her mouth because she's very assertive. She's a strong female character. She clearly is not taking shit from anyone. But then you have Sarah Connor, who cannot help herself from being Sarah Connor, right?
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, I got the new iPhone today," and she's just like, "Throw it in the trash. Throw it in the trash right now."
She literally cracks it in her hand like a walnut.
Yeah, let me see it. Crunch. He's like, "What? And he's like, "So, you guys have any kids or what?" And she's like, "Yes, I have a son. He's the leader of a resistance in the future to fight off the machines in the year 1999 when the apocalypse comes about." And he's like, "All right, well, you guys want some creme brulee or what?"
I imagine like the date pulls Sarah Connor's chair out. She's like, "Thank you." And in one move, she spins it backwards and then sits straddling it, you know? And she's like, "All right, let's commence this date."
Yeah. She's like, "Ripley, show her that trick you learned from the robot." And she's like, "No, I don't want." She's like, "Show her the trick." Bing, pulls out the knife. And she's like, "Put your hand down. Put your hand on the table." And she's like, "God damn it." But you have to know like which movie you're getting Ripley from. Like, if she's after 1 or 2, like I know who she is. But if she's after 3, or God,
no,
God
you said
forbid
Ripley.
4.
You didn't say clone of Ripley, right? Oh man.
Yeah, because once she's a clone, it's over.
No. It's got to be pre-clone. It's got to be pre-clone.
She's extra creepy. She indulges the creepy fantasy. She's like, "Apocalypse, you say?"
That would be a baller team up, though. Like Dark Horse in the early 2000s did a Aliens vs. Terminator vs. Predator series, and I love the art, but it was a shit story. It was a really shitty way to. If you guys haven't read that series, there's like scientists that try to mesh Terminators and aliens, so you never get a really distinct 3-way fight. You have these alien-esque Terminators that are supposed to be a meld between, and then you have the humans and the Predators fighting. It's not terrible, but it's not what you want it to be. But it would be really cool to have Ellen Ripley fighting side by side with Sarah Connor against a Terminator and Alien threat. I think that would be fucking cool.
I have a Predator over here in a little tube. It's a Predator Terminator. I took apart a bunch of toys and put them back
One of
together.
a kind, right? Custom made.
Custom made. So it's a Predator, but the T-800 endoskeletons in there. It's freaking dope. All that green blood hanging off of him. It looks great. All right, who else you got?
All right, let's see. I have any Adam Sandler character living with any other Adam Sandler character.
Oh no.
Like little Nicky's living with Billy Madison, knocking on the bathroom door. Billy, are you almost done in there? Shampoo is better. It cleans the hair. No conditioner is better.
What are you looking at, Swan? I don't know why he turned into Yoda for a second. I think you get any three of them in a room, and they all devolve into just a disaster. Just like Bobby Boucher's in there, water boying it up, and they're all just
Waterboy. I forgot about that one.
It's
all
like,
the ones I had in my head, I forgot about that one.
It's like, oh my god, you could get all of the characters in at once, and it just turns into multiplicity where each one's dumber than the next one. I like pizza, and then like one of the normal. Oh my god! But then like it's the uncut gems. Adam Sandler is like the normal one, and he's just like freaking out and up to his ears in debt to the mob. And he's surrounded by these idiot roommates who can't do anything right and are borderline mentally unstable.
It's also this. You could do, in my mind, you could do the same thing with Will Ferrell. You could do the same thing with all that. It's the same joke, same characters, same thing. It doesn't matter who it is, right?
Oh, that. But like the thing is, like any one of those films on their own was a moment. Like
yeah, it was.
I'm definitely like Billy Madison. I thought was hysterical, and still to this day, if I watch it, will probably crack up just as hard as I ever did. But like, not because it's still funny, just because the nostalgia of how fucking funny it was.
Agreed.
Because it's like, I mean, I was like in grade school and we were quoting that shit.
Well, that's the thing is it's the same. Like Billy Madison or Adam Sandler to me, or Adam Sandler to you was probably like Jim Carrey to me. Like I was the perfect age for Jim Carrey. I was almost the perfect age for Adam Sandler. Same thing. But it's like you said, and to quote Raoul Duke / Hunter S. Thompson, you said it was a moment, and we were there at that moment.
Yeah.
If you were too old or too young to hit that, you only get the significance of it a little bit. But like you said, we have that nostalgia. It's not just the actual comedy or the performance. It's nostalgia because we remember watching it with our 10-year-old brains or 11-year-old brains, right?
You want to know something weird?
Yeah.
I was just probably slightly too young for Jim Carrey, young enough that instead of finding him funny, I found him mortifyingly embarrassing. like shamefully embarrassing. Jim Carrey
really
never landed for me.
Because
I always just, even like regardless of where they were, I could just see my parents being like, that's rude. That's a rude, crude dude right there. And we doing, like turning off the tape. Like The Mask, watching that with them was just mortifying. When he's he turns into a wolf at the hot what's her name?
Cameron Diaz.
At the hot Cameron Diaz. I was just young enough that didn't see the appeal, didn't care. Ew, girls. And also just found him mortifyingly, embarrassingly rude. So yeah, Jim Carrey never hit when he was.
You're not wrong. Like I'm not going to correct you on anything.
Oh my God.
Said.
Let me ask you some questions. Oh, I cracked up, but then just like, oh my God. Yeah. Could not handle.
You're right. You're right. Again, I can't I can't correct you. What you're saying is not incorrect. It's a slightly different experience than I have from watching it as a kid.
Yeah.
But that is kind of how I would watch it now, though.
So who landed for me was Jay and Silent Bob, because when I saw them, I was like 13, 14, 15.
Yeah,
It was
that's
like,
a good age to hit that.
yeah, snooch to the booch, that was hysterical to me. My parents weren't there to yuck that wow, but with Jim Carrey, it was either watching it with your friend's parents or your parents were there, and it was always like, awkward. It's a bummer, because so many people like, oh man, Jim Carrey, he's the best, and I'm like, yeah, I like him, he's all right, but like the Mask, Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, Dumb and Dumber, all of those that were like huge hits for him were huge, embarrassing, shameful, Catholic guilt moments for me.
You got to go back.
I got robbed.
Excuse me. You got to go back and watch The Mask, because that's another one that Kent is into right now, big time. And first of all, from an effects point of view, to go back, I mean, you have the cover of it's supposed to be cartoony, so the fact that it looks like a cartoon is okay. But when you watch it and remember the buzz on like movie magic of how this was the first time, this, that, and the other thing, you're like, wow, okay, cool. And if you know the Dark Horse cartoon series, that comic series rather, that was so dark.
I've never read it. I can't find it.
Oh, dude, it is.
Where is it? How do you find?
I mean, I have a hardcover of it, but it's you should be able. You got to be able to get it digitally. John Aracudi wrote it, and it's Doug Mank art. It's really, really, really good, and it is cartoonfully, joyously violent. And like in this one, he's like a superhero. In the other one, he's not. He's like a wanton murderer, just killing random people. Cops, like the cops are chasing him, and he just murders everybody. And it's like funny because it's a cartoon comic book, but it's like he's murdering people. And my
like,
favorite scene.
What if Bugs Bunny was let loose with zero?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's for grown-ups. It wasn't for kids when it was made, And it's there's some my favorite moment is like when he first turns into the Mask, he's in a room with his wife, and his wife's going crazy with him because she's like, you're nuts. I'm calling the cops. And she calls the cops, and they come in, and he's in the room, and he pulls out a lamp, and he's trying to entice her into the room with a lamp to beat her head in. And it's like, it's just played for laughs. It's just like, ha, ha, ha. And it's so good. Anyway, that having that in your head, watching The Mask, the movie, I think it's everything that you just criticized Jim Carrey about. It's the least version of that. It's like because he plays Stanley Ipkiss, and he plays that character interestingly until he turns into the Mask, and then it's Jim Carrey playing Jim Carrey. But he has an alter ego, you know what I mean? So he's not like that the whole time. So it's actually pretty enjoyable, and I really do like watching that now.
I mean, you have to give it to him. He is one of the greatest performers of his time. What he can do with his face and his timing for what he was doing, and you can't deny that moment in the 90s was his.
Yeah, that's true.
It's awesome. I will have to find this comic book because I've always wanted to read it, but like I can only find like an issue at a time. I need to find like the collection, and I think it's out of print is the problem.
Do you ever have you ever read digitally?
I do, but I don't like to do that because
I try not to. But if there's a book like that I can't, and I don't know if I know they made trades. Maybe they're out of print and they're hard and expensive to find. But if there's shit like that I can't, I'll look digitally. But something for us to look for at Comic-Con.
Oh, absolutely, that's not a bad idea. You. Putting the Mask in with the Mask and Deadpool. There you go.
Yeah, that would be
as roommates.
baller.
Yeah.
Well, there is the 2-issue series of The Mask and Lobo, and that's pretty fun because that's like about what you want it to be, you know. But yeah, I think Mask and Deadpool would be a good one. I like that.
Absolutely ridiculous. Who else do I got here? Okay.
Mm.
John
Oh,
Constantine
This sounds serious. Yeah.
and Hellboy.
Hmm.
And at first, John Constantine goes to kill Hellboy, but then they end up getting drunk and smoking together, smoking cigars. Because, like, John Constantine, notoriously huge smoker. And I think you have this moment where, like, he's sneaking up to kill Hellboy, and then he's like, "Wait, is that an Alfa Romero?" You know, like knows the cigar he's smoking. He's like, "Yeah, you want one?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, okay." And then they just hang out, and then they become roommates. But every now and then go on crazy adventures together because there's an advantageous aspect to having a demon as a roommate.
I like that, and it would work. Like it would. You don't have to fight hard to get that team up in your head, right? You don't have to push that. You don't have to bend a lot of logic and make a lot of plot to have that work. You're like, they both are fucking demon people.
Demon and an
Right,
exorcist
Yeah,
walk
it's
into
like
a
the
bar.
same universe. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
And then they trade war stories about demons, devils, and politicians.
You like war stories. A lot of your things tonight have had war stories in them.
Well, I mean, imagine if, like, we all have war stories.
What
whether
if a
they're-
war and a story were roommates?
Whoa! But then they don't want to talk about it. He's like, the war's like, "Hey, man, did you ever?" And the story's like, "You wouldn't know. You weren't there, man."
Okay, here's one off the top of my head then. What if you have Hooper and Quint as roommates, like leading up to the boat? Like the boat was in the shop, but they had to live together for 3 days in an apartment. Imagine that. Like, that would actually be some really good drama and some really good acting and writing pieces, or a good comedy, like a good sitcom. Depending on how you write it, you could make it go
Oh my
either way.
gosh! Oh my god! I like just Hooper would hate it so much.
Oh, he would. And like
And I
we said
kinda
about
love that.
Deadpool, I think Quint would take delight in getting under his skin, and he would try so hard.
Who would be another good one to pair with Quint? Like another character out there that's like grizzled as shit, like Lobo or something. Like, who would be a great roommate to pair with them that wouldn't be a odd couple, but like more of a great pairing.
You know who would work? Like, who I could see them respecting and liking each other is actually Wolverine.
Oh,
Like, don't you think Logan and Quint are similar in a lot of things where they'd be like, I think Wolverine would see, okay, I get you, I get what you are, I get what your priorities are. Even if they didn't like each other, I think they'd be good roommates because they would understand each other, right?
There'd always be an acceptable beer in the fridge.
Yeah.
Trading scar stories would go
Sure.
great. He's
Yeah.
like, these ones on my back, Shogun warriors from the 14th dynasty. And he's like, get out. And I think, yeah, they would have a lot of fun. And I think Wolverine would absolutely go hunting for sharks.
Well, it's like, and I think, like, I remember when we were talking with Zeb Wells in his creepy ass garage, and we were talking about part of the reason I love that story and I love the way Zeb writes is because the way he understands some of these characters is the way that I feel like I understand these characters, and I feel like Wolverine is what he is, and at any given point, whether it's early or recent, the best Wolverine knows that and is not trying to change that. He might be trying to control it and whatever, but he accepts what he is. And I think Quint is a hunter. He is a shark hunter. That is the only thing he does. And I think, you only get to see so much of him in that movie, but I think if you were to watch a really good Quint story, That's all he does. Just like we said about the girls, he doesn't go on dates. That's, if he does, he's going out to get laid. He's not trying to find someone, right? He wants to hunt sharks. That's what he was put on this earth to
No,
do.
dude. Wolverine comes home and there's a shark, a fish hook on the door, and he's like, "No way, no way!" And then in the morning, Quinn opens the door, and these two
Bow-legged women.
bow-legged women come walking out, and it's just like, what? And he's like, it says something vulgar, and you laugh at it.
Yeah, I think he's paying for it, and he's doing it to scratch an itch. He's not trying to find love, which I think is actually different than Wolverine.
For sure.
But I think that both of them are what they are. They're not trying to pretend to be something different. They're not trying to sell you. Like Quint, think about Quint's introduction in Jaws.
Yeah.
He literally says, "You know who I am? You know what I do for a living?" He's not saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to help you keep this summer." He's like, "If you want your summer, you will pay me." Period. And if you think about it, that's Wolverine too. I am the best there is at what I do, and what I do is not very nice. Period. And I think that Game would recognize Game in that situation. I think even if they didn't like each other, I think they'd be like, "Okay, you're Quint, and I see that, and I'm Logan, and you see that."
An entire scene where they say nothing and just grunt at each other in perfect satisfaction the entire day, no words, just yeah, and they can communicate with just a single sound. Yes.
Well, I think, can you imagine that imagine an issue or an episode where Quint needs an extra hand on the boat, and Logan's the only one available. And for some reason, Logan agrees.
Yeah.
Logan would be, I think, a good first mate. He would listen to what he was saying. He would follow his directions.
He'd
and
like
there'd be no
too.
back talk. There'd be no second guessing. He would just do what he was told. And I think if Wolverine took Quint into the woods, Quint would do the same. I'm assuming Quint probably knows how to hunt land game as well. But I think he would follow Wolverine's lead. He would understand that that was Wolverine's domain, and that he's not going to say, "I think we should do it." Like neither one of them would be Hooper to each other, right? They would both just be like,
100%.
"Okay."
Quint doesn't like walking. That's why he stays on a boat.
Mm.
I don't think he's much of a hiker, to be honest.
No, but if they were together, I think if one was helping the other one with something that was theirs,
Sure,
they would be a good team. You know what I mean? Like, when you have a good man at your back, or a good right-hand man, you're like, okay, whether you think about all the times we've been in the trenches of a film shoot, right?
Yeah.
And you have a second or someone who you're like, man, I could trust this guy. I could
Shout
tell
out-
him to go do, you know what I mean?
Shout out to Tommy Harris on that one.
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's my
and
guy.
I think we've been in those battles before. I think each of them would be good at each other's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
That's probably one of the best roommate matchups we've come up with, where it's just like that would work.
It
And I'd
really
watch
does
that.
have the best legs of them all, right?
Yeah. You got any more?
I have enough to do another episode.
Stop it. I have.
All right, I'll give you one. I'll give you one more.
I have 4 more.
Yeah,
could do
I have
another
at least
episode.
4 more.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to save them?
Are we going to do a part 3? Is this what we've become? This is all we do now. We'll put another episode in between doing a part 3. We'll do it further on down the line.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
I'm surprised the legs this has had. To wrap it up, can I give you the character that I wanted to find a roommate for?
Yeah. Okay. So before the episode, Roomy mentioned.
Yeah. So there's a somebody's walking down the street and they see on a telephone pole it says roommate wanted, must like cars. And the little tickets that you can grab with a number. And we need to find somebody who's going to show up to Furiosa's apartment. Mad Max's Furiosa.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't see the new movie. Am I qualified to answer this question if I haven't seen the new movie? The
Can
newer
you
one.
guess? Can you guess what happens?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a. Yeah, I think so.
It's the new movie was fine, but again, it's like, do I need to know where these characters come from?
Right. That's what I figured. That's why I
It's
didn't
like
see it.
it's worth watching. It's
Okay.
worth watching because it's like, hell yeah. What's his name? Stephen Miller,
Yeah. Who?
who
Josh
makes
Miller.
the director of those movies.
But yeah, Miller.
Stephen Miller knows how to make a really great action movie. Hell yeah. It's basically like, here's this little girl. She gets taken from her family and then becomes Furiosa and goes through all this crazy shit. And you're like, cool. And it's all awesome, but it doesn't add anything to that character for me.
Mm.
It's just more cool stuff to happen with a different character who plays the same person. But no, it doesn't change anything. You have a badass survivor who has been through a lot and knows a lot about trucks and weapons. I mean, her and Sarah Connor would be good roommates right off the bat.
That's yeah. I mean, those two came to mind immediately. But how about off the top of my head, a final girl like Sydney Prescott, right? Not
Oh,
an action star
interesting.
per se, but like survivors, women who were pushed into a point of fighting back, and you can almost say Sydney Prescott almost has a penchant for that now because it keeps happening to her, but she keeps surviving and keeps fighting, right? And she's not a warrior like Sarah Connor or Ripley arguably is, right?
Buffy Summers.
Mm.
Here are two badass survivors, but one is like a bubblegum cheerleader and the other one is like diesel covered truck.
Yeah, you're right. There's your show right there.
Right. And it's like, there's your odd couple because she's like, they both can kick some ass. Like if somebody shows up, both of them can take care of themselves. Both of them can lead armies into hell and back. But one of them is like, yay, I need to go shopping. And the other one's like, I got to swap the tires out on my big rig. I love this odd couple. That's a fun one.
Okay, so you have a Venn diagram, right? And
Yep.
on the right circle is Furiosa. In the middle, where the two circles overlap, is Buffy Summers. On the left circle is Cher from Clueless, and she has none of the fighting skills or
Oh, no.
right. She has none of this fighting skills or survival needed to work with this Furiosa. But what a funny show that would be.
Oh my
where
God. She's
they
like,
have to hit the road. It's Thelma and Louise, but
I've been-
Cher and Furiosa.
Cher calls. She goes, I've been abandoned at the circus liquor. And Furiosa shows up in a war rig. Thelma and Louise in a war rig is dope. I will give you that.
Hell yeah, it is. I'd watch that.
Seriously, would watch that. Yeah, super fun. Okay, cool. I'm there. Yeah. One of the ideas I had was Michonne from The Walking Dead and her, know how to survive in an apocalypse, but it's almost too miserable. Like kind of the same thing, like Quint.
It's both of them hitting the same note, more or less.
Yeah. Almost like, and just being like angry about everything.
Plus, a tiger on a road trip is tough,
It's true. Michonne didn't have the tiger though.
Michonne comes with a lot of physical baggage. She's got zombies. She's got tigers.
Yeah, she's. But I mean, she knows how to use a sword, which I think Furiosa would be like sick.
Mm.
And they're both used to being around people who are missing arms because Furiosa is missing that one arm.
I was trying to think. That's the thing that I first latched on. That I was trying to think of who to team her up with, man or woman, who is also missing an arm.
Oh, Aquaman from later in the day? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, the trident arm.
That's my favorite Aquaman, by the way. Like, I was always like, whatever. But then, like, the second I saw him missing an arm with a hook, I was like, cool. All right, that's my Aquaman, grizzled with a beard and a big old.
Yeah, I
head.
liked Beard. Beard got me more than the. I mean, the hook was interesting, or that the missing arm was interesting, but Furiosa. Okay, that's if you gave me 25 guesses, Furiosa wouldn't have been on my list. Before
Oh,
we
really?
started the episode, we didn't tell each other what was up, but we said, okay, I got a good list. Oh, I got a good list too. Rumi said, I have one that I don't have a companion for. Could I throw it out there on the air and we'll kind of, go from there and try to figure out who that person could be with. So I didn't know what he was going to say. But if I had guessed, I could have 25 guesses. I wouldn't have guessed Furiosa.
It's because I wanted to add some more ladies to the list. Because it's easy. A lot of like comic book and movie characters are men. Often, it's a little lopsided in that department. And then
Okay.
when comic books and movies do add a female character, like there's some tropes and cliches that fall into that. So I was trying to find one, ways to avoid that. Like I don't really care who Wonder Woman's roommate is. She-Hulk.
Okay.
I don't know.
I have a female roommate who, regardless of who you put her up with, there'll be hijinks.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Serial mom. Remember that?
Oh,
Wouldn't that be a good one? Like, really, whoever you pair her with, whether it's someone similar or someone opposite, it's going to be hysterical, right?
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Supervillain. Really, if you team her up with someone who's bad and hangs out with bad people, the chances for confrontation and hijinks ensue, right?
They're just murdering people left and right. And if they team her up with somebody who's good, she's hiding a bunch of bodies in there.
Yeah, you're right. That's right.
And they're trying to do that thing like, don't look in the freezer. Why? I hit a cat on the way home. You just don't want to. And it's like, okay, gross.
That movie's awesome. That
Serial
movie's really
Mom?
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh man. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Right? Because, I mean, no matter who you pair up with, it's going to be funny just by the way that movie was and that character was.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. All right. Shit. Well, I guess we'll see you in part 3, guys. I guess we should say, come out to Comic-Con. Come find us. Come do Ghostface Killer trivia. Come to our Blades and Broadswords and Blasters bracket.
Blades and Blasters, the official title.
Blades and Blasters bracket. I think that would be amazing to see y'all out there. We're going to be giving out prizes at the trivia. It's going to be super fun. And Comic-Con's just amazing. So, if you're out in San Diego way, come July, hit us up. And
both of those panels are on Friday, the 25th. We'll be there the whole weekend. You'll know it's us because we cosplay as Handsome Boys.
Yeah,
since our first day walking to the con.
What are we dressed as? We're Handsome Boys. And it's true. And then what else? Oh, yes. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all the other things, and on YouTube at Launchpad Pod, and our website, launchpadpod.com. Man, thanks for sticking with us for 300 plus episodes.
I know, right?
301. That is a lot.
How many years?
It's almost 8 years.
Fuck, really?
I think so. Yeah, because we started in like 2015. Like,
is that true?
It's been a long run, man. It's been fun though, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, 2015 is 10. I'm in kindergarten, but I can do that math. That's 10 years.
Okay.
You gonna debate me?
No, not in that part. The fact
these
that
are the best roommates right here. Is me and Roomy.
The fact that I'm pretty dang sure it's only been 8 years.
Oh, it might have been 8 years, but if it was 8 years, we started later.
Count it back then. Yeah.
Do you remember ever podcasting in my apartment?
Yes.
Or did we start podcasting here in this house?
You would come to my apartment, and every now and then I would go to. Yeah, there were a couple times I would go to your place, but you would usually come to me.
Right, I know we did usually, but my question is, I know it's either 50. I moved into this house, I think, in 16. So if we podcasted in my actual apartment as opposed to my house, it was 15 or earlier.
I don't know if we ever. I think it might have been at the house, at your house.
So it's like 16 or 17.
Yeah. But it's hard to tell, man. I can't quite remember because it was like, man. But it was fun. I do remember starting at the place in Glendale. Was when we first started, and that was fun.
Everyone listening right now is like, this part's even boringer than the other parts. At least you were mentioning obscure comedy horror movies I knew about. Now you're just talking about where you lived and how long you've been talking to each other.
And
on tonight's episode, we talk about how long we've been talking to each other.
April 25th, 2017 was the first time we ever put anything out, and May 3rd, 2017 was Origin Stories, our first episode.
Dang.
Yeah, dang. Right?
Yeah, so 17. That's 8 years, you're right.
Yep. Woo! Anyway,
thanks for taking the trip. Thanks for taking the trip with us, Japan and Holland.
Oh, and India. Thanks for listening, guys.
Well, India, just by scientific math principles, is listening a lot.
We did that RRR episode, which people love that, and they keep telling us to
now
watch.
I want to rewatch that movie. The movie's so
they're like
good.
We get these. We constantly get these recommendations on the RRR video. It's like, you need to watch this. You need to watch Toombad. I watched Toombad, and you didn't watch Toombad. We could do a whole Toombad episode.
Okay, we could do a Toombad episode.
Toombad was
summer break starts for me in 2 days, man. So I don't know that I'll have I don't know that I'm going to be as free as I hope I am, but I'll be more free than I am now. So free to record more, free to watch more.
Toombad was amazing. So yeah, we should do that. But
if it was so amazing, how come they didn't call it Tomb Good?
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. It is in a different language.
All right, you're trying to blast it up. Let's do it.
We're the Rocketeers. We're out.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.